Tonight, let me tell you a quiet story. A story that moves slowly, like tides, like time. A story about sushi. If Japan is somewhere in your future, or quietly resting in your imagination, then understanding sushi is like understanding a small doorway into Japan's soul. But sushi did not begin as beauty. It did not begin as luxury. It began as necessity. It began as survival. More than 1,000 years ago, in the humid river valleys of Southeast Asia, life depended on water. Rivers fed villages. Fish fed families. But fish is fragile. In warm climates, it spoils within hours. Before refrigeration, before ice distribution, before modern storage, food security meant innovation. So people created a method. They packed freshly caught fish with rice and salt, layer upon layer. The salt drew out moisture. The rice began to ferment. Fermentation is quiet chemistry, invisible life-transforming matter. The environment became acidic. Bacteria changed the structure of the fish. Time became the ingredient. Months passed, and when opened, the fish was preserved. But the rice had done its work. It was discarded. The rice was not the meal. It was the guardian. This early form was called narazushi. Its aroma was powerful, sharp, almost shocking, but in that intensity was safety. When this method traveled to Japan, it slowly adapted to local tastes and climates. In Shiga Prefecture, near Lake Biwa, you can still find funazushi. A descendant of this ancient method, it is aged for months, sometimes over a year. When you taste it, you are tasting preservation technology from a world without electricity. You are tasting survival. Over centuries, Japanese culture refined what it inherited. Something subtle changed. People began to notice the sourness of fermented rice, not as something unpleasant, but something intriguing. The acidity brightened the palate. It awakened the senses. During the Muromachi period, between the 14th and 16th centuries, Japan experienced artistic flowering, tea ceremony, ink painting, garden design. Amid this refinement, food culture evolved as well. People began eating the rice, not just the preserved fish, but both, together. This was more than convenience. It was a shift in perception. Preservation had become flavor. Then vinegar entered the story. Rice vinegar allowed cooks to recreate fermentation's brightness. Without waiting months, time was replaced by technique. Instead of aging fish in rice, they seasoned rice directly. The transformation was revolutionary. Sushi moved from storage method to culinary expression. It became something that could be prepared fresh, served immediately, shared socially. It became cuisine. Now let us move forward to the 19th century, to Edo. Today we call it Tokyo. Edo was immense. By the early 1800s, it was one of the largest cities on earth. Over 1 million residents, merchants, samurai, artisans. The city pulsed with energy. Wooden bridges, crowded markets, riverboats crossing the Sumida River. It was fast, almost modern. Workers needed efficiency. They did not have time to wait for formal meals. Street vendors responded. Among them was Hanaya Yohei. He did something radical. He took vinegared rice, formed it by hand, and placed fresh slices of seafood on top. Nigiri, hand-pressed, fresh from Edomae. Some fish was lightly marinated. Some brushed with soy sauce. Some lightly cured in salt. It was ready instantly. It was portable. It was affordable. It was fast food. Yes, the elegant sushi we know today began as street food. People stood. They ate quickly. They returned to work. What was once practical would later become art. As Japan modernized during the Meiji era, technology changed food distribution. Ice became available. Transportation improved. Sushi evolved again. It moved indoors, from stalls to small shops, from speed to precision. Chefs began refining technique. The balance of rice seasoning became precise. The slicing of fish became intentional. Knife skills became discipline. Apprenticeships formed. Years of training, not months. Years. A sushi apprentice might clean floors for months before touching rice. Rice is the foundation. Its temperature must match the human body. Its texture must hold shape, yet dissolve gently. Fish must be sliced with awareness of grain and fat distribution. A single motion of the knife can change texture. This quiet mastery turned fast food into craftsmanship. To understand why sushi feels so Japanese, we must understand seasonality, the concept of shun. Shun is not simply in season. It means the precise moment when something is at its natural peak. This idea reflects a larger philosophy: harmony with nature. Spring sea bream is delicate. Summer mackerel is bright. Autumn tuna grows rich with fat. Winter shellfish deepen in sweetness. Sushi respects this rhythm. Menus change daily. Availability shifts with ocean temperature. A sushi meal can become a silent conversation between sea and season. This sensitivity to time is deeply embedded in Japanese aesthetics. Cherry blossoms bloom briefly. Autumn leaves fall quickly. Beauty is transient. So is the perfect piece of sushi. When you sit at a sushi counter in Japan, you may notice the silence. Conversation is soft. Movements are minimal. There is space. The chef shapes rice gently, places fish precisely. Hands move like ritual. There is something almost meditative. Sushi is small, but it carries weight. Balance between rice and fish, between salt and sweetness, between simplicity and depth. Restraint is not absence. It is control. After World War II, Japan reopened to the world. Sushi traveled. In Los Angeles, chefs adapted to local tastes. the California roll was born. Avocado, imitation crab, rice outside. Creative evolution followed, spicy sauces, fusion concepts. Some traditionalists resisted. But sushi proved adaptable. It crossed cultures. Today, sushi exists in cities across the globe. Yet in Japan, its essence remains restrained. Less decoration, more purity. Because at its core, sushi is about harmony. If one day you visit Japan and sit at a sushi counter, remember this history. Sit at the counter if possible. Watch the chef's hands. Eat each piece in one bite. You may use your fingers. This is traditional. Dip lightly, fish side down. Taste before adding extra seasoning. Trust the balance. And when you finish, a simple arigato is enough. Sushi does not demand applause. It invites appreciation. From fermented preservation to refined craftsmanship, from survival to art. Sushi traveled across centuries. It carries within it innovation, adaptation, discipline, and harmony. It teaches us something subtle, that even something small can hold history, that patience transforms necessity into beauty, and that time, like fermentation, can deepen flavor. So when you taste sushi in Japan, perhaps you are not only tasting fish and rice, perhaps you are tasting 1,000 years of quiet evolution. Thank you for listening. If Japan is waiting for you, may your journey be gentle. And when you sit at a sushi counter someday, may you remember this quiet story. Good night.